My name's Dave DeBoe, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Welcome back, folks. Hey, have you ever thought about investing in something a little bit different instead of just single family homes or even small multifamily properties? Have you ever thought about commercial real estate? Well, today's special guest, zooming in from beautiful Cincinnati, we've got a very experienced real estate entrepreneur, a podcaster, a guy who knows a heck of a lot about commercial real estate, Mr. Ash Patel. Ash, welcome to the show.
Dave, thank you so much. I'm excited for this conversation.
All right, well, let's just jump right in. And why don't you tell us what your definition of commercial real estate is? Because there's so many different categories out there. I think, people, myself included, don't really know how to pigeonhole this.
My definition is anything that doesn't have residential tenants. So, office, retail, industrial, flex, medical, restaurants, retail, of course. So, really, anything that doesn't have residential tenants, people sleeping, showering in your properties.
Okay, very cool. Now, that still covers a huge gamut of different options there. What would you say are like the primary categories that you focus on, that you've got the most experience in?
I've done a little bit of everything. Right now, we focus heavily on retail. Second gen restaurants are very hot right now. Retail is
Second gen restaurants. What does that even mean exactly?
it basically means a location where there once was a restaurant and they failed or moved or closed and it's ready to go turnkey. Another restaurateur can come in and open up very quickly.
Oh, okay.
And
Like,
the reason those are so attractive is because if you think about it, you need a hood, you need
yeah.
fire suppression, a grease trap, equipment, gas lines. All of that takes a lot of money and there's a lot of lead time with supply chain issues, permitting. You're looking at potentially 6 months, couple $100,000. So right now, your listeners can find second gen restaurants. We see them for two, three, $400,000.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Exciting. All right. Very good. So we're getting a concept there. So you said second gen restaurants. What else are you focusing on these days?
Retail, people think there's been a retail apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
They see J.C. Penney survived a world war, the Great Depression, and they were bankrupt. Rite Aid, Toys R Us, Kmart, Sears, the list goes on. So people's perception is that even brokers and residential realtors think retail is just dead. It's never coming back. The Amazon effect, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you read any of the headlines, it'll tell you retail is the healthiest it's ever been in 20 years, the lowest vacancy, the lowest time to fill vacancies, and just the highest demand for retail. It is the best kept secret in commercial real estate.
That is cool to hear, Ash. And why is that? Like, why is retail healthier than ever? And why is it not the Amazon effect like we see on the news and hear about all the time?
Because I think Americans want places to go, to shop, to dine. And then if you look at your service based businesses, so again, for a lot of your listeners that may not be ready to buy a $5, $10 million strip mall, look at where you go to shop. Look at where you go for, the neighborhood bar, restaurant, the butcher shop, the deli, the insurance person, the optometrist. Those neighborhood strips are recession resistant and internet resistant businesses. So you're always going to need them, right? So little strip malls located in dense residential areas, they're huge money makers.
Very cool. All right. So we've got the idea of what kind of properties we're talking about with commercial real estate. We got an idea that the Amazon effect is not as bad as we thought it was, as the news makes us want to believe it is. And we got an idea that these little strip malls can be really good money makers. What are the big benefits in your mind, Ash, for investing in commercial real estate instead of residential real estate?
Dave, the biggest benefit, there's really two big ones. One, they're very easy to manage. If you have a 100-unit apartment building, you need a full time leasing person, one or two maintenance people, potentially a property manager. with our strip malls, I can, we 100 unit apartment building, let's say, is what, $10 million. A $10 million strip mall might have 10 to 12 tenants in it. A lot of them will be on triple net leases. So if their HVAC has a problem, it's on them. If they have a plumbing backup, it's on them. When it comes time to paint the exterior or redo the parking lot, they contribute collectively towards that. So also, the tenants are business owners. They're not residential tenants. They're not, living paycheck to paycheck. These are people whose livelihood depends on the property that you own. So having professional business owners as tenants is a huge benefit. And really, just the returns that you can make in non-residential commercial outweigh any other investment I've ever seen.
And why do you think that is? Is the triple net the big money saver, money maker here, or where do you see it being, Ash?
Believe it or not, it is not. The
Really?
triple net is the easier part of commercial. And because of that, the returns are lower. If you buy a fully leased triple net shopping center, there could be coastal buyers, out of the country buyers
Mm,
that can purchase it because there's very little overhead in management, right? It's just essentially the closest you're going to get to mailbox money.
yeah.
But where the real value is let's say for strip malls, you find one that has an anchor tenant, a Dollar Tree, an O'Reilly's, Dollar General, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have a combination of mom and pop tenants, maybe some regional tenants, and some vacancy. So taking a center like that was maybe mismanaged, mispriced, or mismarketed, and getting in there, adding value, converting all the tenants to triple net, or trying to get all national tenants in, that's the real value upside. So, a very simple example.
Yeah.
Let's say there is a little convenience store and just a simple block building metal roof. It might be worth two or three hundred thousand dollars. If you can get a 15-year lease from a Dollar General, it's now worth 1.4 million. So it's shocking when people hear this, but we have a strip center with a 31,000 square foot vacancy. We signed O'Reilly's Auto and they signed a 15-year lease. So that one signature, that one piece of paper, they took the space as is, added $3 million in value to our center, which we bought for 5 million.
So let me see if I'm understanding this, and correct me if I'm wrong, because my wife points out I usually am.
Same.
So, so basically, you're looking at underperforming properties. Let's say it's a strip mall, it's a mom and pop operator. They haven't got triple net leases, perhaps. They haven't got everybody up to speed. They haven't got it all leased out. So you go in and you buy these kind of properties, and one of the ways that you're bringing value and you're increasing the value of the property is by bringing on these anchor tenants like the dollar store, Dollar General, having these very long 15-year leases, making going from a general lease to a triple net lease. That is increasing your net operating income. Huge. It's absolutely huge. And that is what the banks are looking at and valuing the property on moving ahead. Am I getting, is that the gist of it?
Correct. And that's what the next buyer is looking at.
Yeah.
They're looking at a safer investment and at a higher price.
Yeah. So, Ash, in a short interview, it's impossible to go super in depth on this, but I'm just kind of curious. I mean, it sounds wonderful. What are some of the downsides to commercial real estate investing? It can't all be sunshine and flowers.
No, the downside is filling vacancies.
Yeah.
So right now, filling 1,500 to 1,800 square foot vacancies is very simple. When you have 30,000 square feet or larger, it's very challenging. So
Hmm.
you can be sitting on vacancy for an extended period of time, but those smaller storefronts are just on fire. And even office, right? Small offices, single two people offices anyone that has those in a suburb has a waiting list. So another thing is people think office market is dead.
Yeah.
There's once in a lifetime opportunities to buy office right now, and suburban office never took a hit. Anybody who owns office outside of a metropolitan city center probably had a waiting list since COVID and before. Smaller
So
offices,
that's counterintuitive. Why is that, Ash? Why,
Yeah, what happened was COVID accelerated the millennials moving out of downtown. So when COVID happened, the first thing that happened was people started working from home, and then
Mm,
they had the lockdown. So now these trendy apartments that are 800 square feet, you're now kind of locked in. The bars and restaurants started closing because there's no office workers to support them.
yeah.
So metropolitan downtowns were dying a slow death. Millennials, like the previous generations, were going to move out to the suburbs when they got older and settled down, had a family. COVID accelerated that. So if you think about it, back when COVID hit, all the new bars and restaurants were popping up in suburban downtowns. And that's where all the growth has been. It hasn't
Interesting.
come back to the city centers yet.
It's in the outskirts. Okay, very, very cool. Now, you mentioned that vacancies is the big challenge with commercial real estate. But you mentioned that the smaller units tend to rent out a lot faster. So what do you and the people that you know that are involved in this do typically to find these kind of tenants, especially if you got bigger units that are vacant?
The larger units that are more specialized, you would have to enlist a broker.
Hmm.
The smaller ones, just get out there, pound the pavement. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, LoopNet, Crexy, advertise it, network, offer finder's fees to your network if they know anyone that has a small business that needs space. And really, it's just pounding the pavement.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if somebody's listening to this or watching this episode and they're thinking, I like what this Ash guy is saying, I might tip my toe into the whole commercial real estate world. What kind of properties would you recommend people start looking at first?
Great question for your audience. I would say mixed use properties. And
Mixed
a
use.
mixed use property is one where the first floor is typically retail, office, some kind of commercial. And above that, there might be two, six, eight apartments. And typically they're older buildings, 100-plus-year-old buildings, but they're huge money makers because commercial people like me don't want to deal with the residential side of things. The residential tenants are too scared because of the commercial, so they fall through the cracks. And I got to tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
I owned a couple mixed use buildings years ago. I had a friend of mine call me and say, Ash, will you help me evaluate a commercial deal? Sure. He gave me the address and I said, look, I own the building next door. I was going to buy that. You can have it for 165 because that's what we got the seller down to. And he said, yeah, the commercial scares me. And I said, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to deal with the residential. Why don't we partner? He's like, no. He's like, I just don't want anything to deal with commercial. So I said, out of curiosity, four apartments. If you took this same building, dropped it down one story, just took away the commercial, and just had four apartment units, what would it be worth? And he said, probably 280, 290. And I'm like, wait a minute, you can buy this for 165. Why? They're giving you a free commercial spot. Why would you not buy it? He's like, I don't want to deal with commercial. I'm like, all right, guess what? I'm buying it then. So I bought it for 150, flipped it for like 380, right? And it's only because people are scared of commercial.
Interesting.
If
Well,
this
and
was
then
at,
yeah,
sorry, if this was advertised as a 4 unit apartment building, they would have had a
every
bidding
all
war.
day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. So just if you're not familiar with the commercial side, partner up with somebody who is, and you take care of the residential, they take care of the commercial, and you share the profits. I mean, what the heck?
Or if you don't have to partner, typically the apartments will pay for all of your expenses and the commercial is just profit.
That's
So
the gravy.
when your audience is underwriting a mixed use building,
Yeah.
make sure the apartment rents cover all of your expenses. And now you have the luxury of having a safety net to lease out the commercial and learn as you go. That's exactly how I got started 15 years ago.
That's really smart. And then that way you're not stressed out about a vacancy that lasts 3, 4, 5 months. Because again, that is the challenge with commercial is unless you're really hustling, those vacancies can last for a while.
Correct.
Very cool. Ash, this has been great. If people want to find out more and connect with you, what should they do? Where should they go?
Go to investbeyondmultifamily.com. I've mentored a ton of people. Out of the 100 or so people that we've mentored, not one student has ever lost money on a deal.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for sharing your experience and giving us some insights into a very interesting asset class. Thanks a lot, Ash.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care. See you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.